everyone. Welcome to this month's edition of North Central Outdoors. I'm your host, Nathan Karch. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about deer hunting this upcoming month. It's going to be a super great hunting month. And I just want to start by saying I hope everybody's had an opportunity to get out in the woods so far. I hope everybody's had a great past month of hunting. It's been really good. Temperature's been kind of, here and there we kind of get a little cold, and then it's like boom, it's right hot again. So the deer are moving, but not as much as we'd like to. But this coming month, I think there's no hot weather in the mix, so we're going to get maybe some warm temperatures, maybe in the 60s, but for the most part they're going to be cold and the deer are going to be moving. So with that, I want to talk to you about the rut. And there's two aspects of the rut that I really want to cover, kind of as a hunter and just a civilian traveling the roadways. So first, a civilian traveling the roadways. You're going to want to be very vigilant this time of year, because this is the time where you're going to see a tremendous amount of deer activity at night, during the day. And with the rut is basically the deer's breeding season. So the does are in heat. The males have a one-track mind. They are going after these does, they're trailing them, and they might not be right behind them, but they're going to be within a couple minutes and they're going to be on the trail of one. They're competing with other bucks in the area to just spread their genetics for future generations to come. So they're really not going to be aware of other hunters in the woods like they normally would be. They're not concentrated on particular smells and sounds and stuff like that. They basically totally ignore everything, and they're focused on that doe. So if that doe leads them straight into a Mack truck right out in the roadway, they're going to follow suit. So just be aware of that. And it doesn't necessarily pertain to these backcountry roads. It can be these busy highways, huge interstate systems. So just be vigilant and keep that in the back of your mind, because it can cause a lot of damage and a lot of injuries. So make sure that you're watching out for those deer. Also, as a hunter, the rut can be one of the most amazing times of year to harvest a big buck. Like I said, they got a one-track mind. They're not focused on smells or sounds like that. I know personally, last year I was hunting this exact time of year with a muzzleloader, and I had a doe cross right in front of me, and I knew that there was a buck that was going to be trailing pretty close by. Well, it wasn't a minute later and that buck was hot on that doe's trail, and I tried everything in my power to get that buck to stop and offer me a good shot, a broadside shot. He wouldn't. I was literally yelling at him to stop, and he had paid no attention to me and just kept going. Needless to say, I didn't get an opportunity to get him, but it's a good time. You don't have to focus a ton on scent control, which archery season, that's a huge factor. So good luck to you. This is a great time of year to kind of catch them off guard, and they're not all nocturnal anymore. They're going to be out in the day, out in the afternoons, and out in the mornings. So good luck to you. With the increased activity and deer movement, with the cold weather obviously they can't stay stationary for long periods of time. They've got to get moving. They've got to have that body temperature back up and warm. So they're going to be out grazing and feeding in these fields, agricultural fields, or if you got food plots or something like that. So they're not going to be stationary. With that is increased illegal activity. So you're gonna probably see some road hunters, see some spotlighters, and that activity is going to be going on. People are going to be wanting to get these big deer, and they know that they're going to be out in the fields at night and stuff like that, so that activity is going to occur. Please be vigilant of that too. If you see any illegal activity such as road hunting, baiting, spotlighting, anything of that nature, please don't hesitate to contact us. You can contact us on our statewide poaching hotline for Middle Tennessee, which is basically a 13-county district and consists of Macon, Trousdale, Smith, Sumner, Wilson County. You can call 1-800 1-800-255-8972. That's 1-800-255-8972. And they will basically take your call, and there will be a dispatcher standing by, and they will designate that to the specific county that that violation occurred in, and we will try to get a game warden out there ASAP. So please be vigilant of that. We would love to know of any activity. The public is our eyes and our ears. We can't do it alone. So we're counting on y'all, and we really appreciate it, everything that you give us. So thank you. Want to touch on tree stand safety again. I know we covered that a little bit last month, but it's very important. So as muzzleloader starts to come into effect, and you're still archery hunting, definitely practice tree stand safety. If you're in a climber or hang on, especially the ladder stands and the tripod stands, they're a little bit safer. But always make sure that you're maintaining 3 points of contact when you're getting up in your stands, and your climber, make sure you got all points of contact. That's pretty important. But use a safety harness and use a haul line. And I recommend, if you're one of those guys that like to sit up there at 20 foot, make sure that you're using your harness coming off the ground. So you get, more than 8-10 feet off the ground, you're going to need to walk that harness up. You're not going to want to just clip in at the top of your tree. So make sure that you're practicing that, and again, use your haul line. Don't try to carry all your gear up there at once. Make sure that if you've got a backpack or your weapon or whatever, that you are basically hauling that up by that rope. If you're using a muzzleloader or a firearm or something like that, don't have it loaded when you're hauling that thing up. Make sure the cap is out of it, and do not attach that haul line by that trigger guard. Attach it by the sling or something like that, something safe, and make sure that the muzzle is not going to be pointed in the dirt or the mud when you're hauling it down or something like that. You don't want any obstructions in that barrel. So just practice good tree stand safety. Also, with muzzleloader season coming into effect, anytime a firearm is thrown into a season, that means that you are required by law to wear blaze orange. That consists of a vest and a hat. The law states that it's 500 square inches of blaze orange. That there's no way we're going to come out there with a tape measure. A vest and a hat will suffice. And if you want to use blaze orange camo, you can do that as well. That's perfectly fine. But just the hat and the vest, make sure you have that. The only exception to that is if you are a private landowner and you are in fact the landowner. This does not apply to leases or anything like that, that you can be exempt from that blaze orange requirement. Landowner specifically, not your family, your friends, your leasers, or whatever like that. Landowner only. Again, we talk about this all the time, but it still happens, and we make so many busts a year, is the baiting issue. We realize baiting is perfectly legal in Kentucky, but here not so much. So if you're one of those farms where you're kind of on the line, use your best judgment and make sure you know where those lines are. But baiting is illegal in Tennessee, so anything with grains in it, it's going to be illegal. Salt and mineral blocks, you can hunt over those year-round. That's no problem, with the exception of WMAs. On wildlife management areas, you can't have anything on the WMAs. So no salt blocks, grains, anything, at any time. People think that there is a certain ratio to salt or mineral and grain. That's simply not true. If it has any grains whatsoever, you can't have it. Protein pellets, you can't do it. Now, normal agricultural practices, obviously food plots and stuff like that, stuff that has taken preparation to make happen, those are legal. So, and you can actually alter those agricultural practices. So if you're in a food plot and you've got standing corn, soybeans, something of that nature, and you want to go in there with a bush hog and disperse those seeds, that's fine. You just can't pile them up. You can't actually take several plants and pile them up in a certain area because you've altered that. Um, Checking in deer, I know this has raised a lot of questions, especially since we've gone to the new electronic check-in system where we no longer require a physical tag on the deer. You actually have 24 hours to check in that deer. Well, I say 24 hours. It's basically a calendar day. So if you harvested a deer in the afternoon, um, you're going to have to check it in by midnight that night. So it's one calendar day. Uh, if you don't, then you're in violation. So just keep that in mind that you have to check that in. And um, you know, the old requirement is it had to be basically tagged in the field. So we're given a lot of leniency on this calendar day. So make sure that you check in your deer. And I want to extend just a kind of a helpful tip. I plan to try to do this and incorporate it into some next future segments. But I want to offer a hunting tip, and that is scent control. Now I touched on we're getting into the rut. We're getting into a very good time of basically deer being oblivious to you, but scent control is a huge factor in deer hunting, especially archery hunting, and you're wanting deer to be in close proximity to you. I know it doesn't matter when you're planning on shooting a deer 100+ yards, but when you're in archery range or something like that, or crossbow range, you're wanting to practice very good scent control. And a lot of people that they don't really think about is all the scents in your house. Every time you cook a meal, all the candles and maybe Scentsy burners or air fresheners or anything like that, laundry detergents, they don't think about that. And those scents are just surrounding all your clothes, all your hunting clothes in your house. So what I would recommend is, storing that in a place, possibly a closet that doesn't get a whole lot of those inside scents. Also, there's several things that you can buy, at your local sporting goods store. Your scent killer sprays, laundry detergents, dryer sheets, even deodorant. And I've used all these things. I can attest that they're good products and they work. But just practice good scent control. Even in your vehicle, a lot of people, like these scent trees or just any type of vehicle scents. And when you're going to your hunting spot, that is actually getting in your clothing. So just practice good scent control, and I think you'll be amazed on how close deer will get to you. And it's very neat. And once you start practicing it, I promise you'll never go back, and you'll realize the importance of it. But that wraps up this month's edition of North Central Outdoors. I hope everybody has an opportunity to get outdoors and maybe get you that deer that you've always wanted, because you will have an opportunity. I promise you, they're going to be moving, so it's only a matter of time. But everybody be safe, and we'll see you next time.